them inside Williams Arena. I'm Marnie Gellner along with Andrea Lloyd-Curry. And Andrea, for much of this season, Minnesota has been a guard-dominated, guard-oriented team. But lately, it's been the post play that has really picked up for the Golden Gophers, in particular, Ashley Ellis-Milan and Leslie Knight.
These two have really learned how to establish themselves in the paint at the offensive end. All year long, they've been great on defense. Ellis-Milan with a great body, able to figure out now how to score. She had 21 against Northwestern, and of course the great weekend that Leslie Knight had last weekend against Wisconsin, as she just dominated in the low block area. These two players have averaged 25 points a game in the last 4 games. It's a huge boost to Minnesota having that interior presence along with their great perimeter game. Ashley Ellis-Milan's numbers just over 10 points per game with that 21-point outing at Northwestern, and Leslie Knight at 7.5, so good contributions from those two young players.
And for the Jackrabbits, they have just one senior this season, but she pretty much does it all, Megan Vogel.
Yeah, St. Peter native, a Minnesota girl coming into play here in Minnesota for the first time in her career. She has started every game of her career, 106 games tonight, 1,585 career points. She leads her team in so many ways. She's poised, she's confident, she's had a sensational year with 4 20-point games straight coming into today, and watch out for her today. Minnesota better do that.
There is a break in conference play, but no break in intensity this afternoon. South Dakota State and Minnesota will tip it off right after this on FSN North. The last game for the Golden Gophers was on Thursday at Northwestern, and it was a last-second win. And now the Gophers are back home at Williams Arena for a non-conference game against the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State. Let's take a look at the starters in this game. Andrea Vertigan, Ashley Muckenhern, Megan Vogel is the leading scorer for the Jackrabbits, Jennifer Workentine and Courtney Grimsrud. And for the Golden Gophers, Roislyn Fox, Brittany McCoy, Leslie Knight, and Ashley Ellis-Milan in the post. And that starting lineup for South Dakota State is the same one that has been used all season long. Pam Borton leads Minnesota, but has said before this game, this is not a cupcake just because it's not a Big Ten opponent. She has a lot of respect for South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits head coach is Aaron Johnston in his 7th season. He's a native of Pine Island, Minnesota, and Johnston is the 2003 Division II Coach of the Year. Today, Coach Borton told us what she's looking for from the Jackrabbits.
They play, as physical as a lot of Big Ten teams do. They shoot the 3 really well. They have transition. They've got great players, and they play within their system extremely well.
Before we tip off here, Andrea, let's take a look at your game plan.
Well, just in line with what Coach Borton was talking about, the game plan today is going to be for Minnesota. They're going to have to guard the 3. That's a given. But the second thing they're going to have to do is guard the penetration. South Dakota shoots a lot of 3s, but they'll put the ball on the floor, so guard one-on-one. South Dakota State transition offense. They're not the kind of team that can go one-on-one a lot, so they're going to try to push the ball, get 10 or 15 points in that way. And for both teams, I expect this game to be extremely physical, and rebounding is going to be at a premium today. Minnesota, one of the better offensive rebounding teams really in the country, averaging right around 18 offensive rebounds a game, and South Dakota State is very, very disciplined about going to the boards and also boxing out, so that'll be an interesting physical battle.
This is the first time these teams have played in 30 years, the 4th overall meeting, so that's why the 2-1 lead there is for SDSU, but the last time these teams played was in 1978 when the Gophers won 81-56.
Long before any of these players were born.
And even before the days of the NCAA.
Exactly.
But we should expect a pretty good atmosphere this afternoon at Williams Arena because 5 players on SDSU's roster and the head coach are from the state of Minnesota. Jackrabbits take the opening tip here at Williams Arena and immediately go down underneath and very quickly are on the board first.
It'll be interesting, I think, to see how the post players, Workentine and Grimsrud for South Dakota State, actually do against the post players from Minnesota. Already early in this game, they've gotten to the basket 2 times against the post players.
Jennifer Workentine scored that opening basket and then came up with the steal there. The sophomore from Willow Lake, South Dakota. Inbounding it is Andrea Vertigan. Workentine has it. Swinging it around, here's Megan Vogel, the leading scorer, number 32 for the Jacks.
It's a very patient team. Minnesota is a good defensive team. I think you're going to want to be patient against them.
Vogel got trapped in the lane. She tried to dish it underneath the Courtney Grimsrud, but found too much traffic.
In fact, both of these teams, you know, are really, really solid defensively. It's one of the things I think people underestimate about South Dakota State. They are a very solid team. They make people take difficult shots for the most part. Again, very well coached, very disciplined.
Emily Fox drives, shoots, and finds the basket. Fox scored that game-winning shot against Northwestern and picks up where she left off here.
Well, she's playing with a lot of confidence right now. Played very, very well against Ohio State a couple of weeks ago, and she can be electrifying. That's going to be a difficult matchup, I think, for South Dakota State.
Traveling called on the Jacks, so that's back-to-back turnovers for SDSU. Here's a look at Emily Fox.
She's just so athletic, and her ability to just really get by the first line of defense, stop and pop with those little hops she's got.
Brittany McCoy takes Vertigan down the court. Now here's Kelly Roisland, Minnesota's only senior, throws it up and in.
Nice shot by the guards for Minnesota to be just really aggressive here early on. They have a little more athleticism, I believe, than South Dakota State at the guard position.
Cut underneath, Vertigan had it knocked away. Here's a look at the move Kelly Roisland just made. Fighting through there.
I think she fights for everything on the floor. She's such a great leader. There's only two seniors on the floor today, Megan Vogel for South Dakota State and Kelly Roisland for Minnesota. Both of them with great determination, consistency, great overall players, great leaders.
Vertigan looks at the three. Here's Workentine in the corner, Vogel. Megan Vogel drives baseline, but great defense from Brittany McCoy.
Well, a good job by Minnesota to take away that three-pointer by pretty much everybody on South Dakota State, and then they did what one of the keys were. They stopped the penetration. You can't allow them to shoot, but you also have to stay down low and not allow easy penetration to the basket.
Oh, knocked out of bounds, the pass just coming from McCoy to Roisland. And is that a sign of just not being game mentally ready right now, Andrea? It's kind of been sloppy play on each team.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of young players out here. We've talked about this with Minnesota over the last, at least at last game we did on Sunday. And South Dakota State has a lot of young players too. They have 6 freshmen on their team. Minnesota has 7, so expect a little sloppiness.
Megan Vogel is on the board for the first time this afternoon. She leads the Jacks with 17 points per game. McCoy comes the other way and throws up the shot from the baseline. Ellis Milan grabs the offensive rebound. That's something you had talked about, Andrea, as Minnesota is the best offensive rebounding team in the Big Ten and one of the best, as you said, in the country.
One of the things you have to do if you want to be a good offensive rebounding team is you have to expect when shots are going to be taken. I think Minnesota's well coached. They know when to take their shots, and offensive rebounders can go to the boards. The second thing is you have to go to the boards, and they do a really nice job of that.
Leslie Knight drives and kicks it out to Emmy Fox, and Fox has hit a couple of shots early here this afternoon.
She was just such a spark plug at times for Minnesota. She was pretty quiet last week against Wisconsin. Hit that big shot against Northwestern that you talked about, and just seems to be carrying that over into this game.
Drive from Vertigan, the shot is long, knocked out of bounds, and the Gophers will have it. Talked about offensive rebounds as a team leading Minnesota. Look at Corinne Campbell, the freshman, and Ashley Ellis-Milan, the redshirt freshman.
Yeah, and this is in the Big Ten, so again, this isn't a Big Ten game, but look at those numbers, and that just talks about mostly the fact that Minnesota's interior players have just really stepped up during the conference season in the last 4 games.
Kelly Roisland with the crossover, the shot rolls off, no offensive rebound there for Minnesota. And here's Megan Vogel.
That transition offense, they want to get down the floor and get an open look. They haven't had one yet.
And there's a 3 that goes in from Vertigan. First 3 points for Andrea Vertigan, the junior from Glen, Flora, Wisconsin, who also has a load of fans here.
She also takes a load of threes. 3/4 of her shots are threes.
Leslie Knight runs into traffic. The other way, it's Vertigan. She does not have numbers, so she'll wait for her teammates. Mucking her, and it's thrown away, and Minnesota has the basketball.
Just good awareness right there by Leslie Knight, staying loose on the post player, not giving up on the play.
Roisland to Fox. Emmy Fox, can she keep the streak going? She does. Emmy Fox has hit all 3 of her shots this afternoon. She's got 6 of Minnesota's 8 points.
Really physical on the interior. If you watch Ellis Mylon and also Grimsrud in there, a lot of pushing going on.
Inside, all alone is Maria Bover. She couldn't convert. There's a timeout on the court here, our first of the afternoon. Emmy Fox is off to a hot start for Minnesota with 6 points in this ballgame. Last week on Thursday at Northwestern, with Minnesota leading by 1 here in the first half against South Dakota State. The game was tied on Thursday. The shot was missed and Northwestern got the rebound, but look at Emmy Fox. Stole it, shot it before the buzzer and hit it. And there's the final score. Minnesota won 65-63. Ashley Ellis Mylon had a double-double in that game. But Emily Fox hit a big shot to win it.
Yeah, I talked to the coaching staff earlier today with regard to that game. I said, how was it up at Northwestern? And they said, you know, we tried to do everything to basically give the game away, and we were able to come out with a win simply because Emily Fox was timely enough to step in, catch that. Em Fox, I think, was surprised that it went in. She kind of shot it, and he's like, wow.
That inbounds pass was nearly stolen away by Brittany McCoy. And I think games like that do a lot for such a young team.
Yeah, they really do. Give you a lot of confidence. You know, Emily Fox on the Wisconsin game didn't play extremely well, so having the chance to get just a booster like that and fire her up was a big thing for Minnesota. Nice defense by Ellis Mylon. That's tough to guard that high-low pass on the interior. South Dakota State loves to throw that little high-low pass, whether it's from a guard to a post or a post to a guard. They do that quite often.
In the game for South Dakota State, number 22, Ketty Korneman has checked in. Bogle has it with 8 on the shot clock. Vertigan will take the shot, and she'll hit the tough three-pointer. Andrea Vertigan, she has 6.
She's such a great player out there. She's the point guard, left-handed, but to have somebody, you know, out there that can knock down the 3 as well. Three-quarters of her shots are 3s.
There's a girl who shoots a lot of 3s as well, Kelly Roisland. Offensive board, though, Ashley Ellis Mylon.
Boy, if you just watch number 21, Ashley Ellis Mylon, at the offensive end, she goes to the board so hard. But look at this Megan Vogel penetration. Those are the things that Megan Vogel does that aren't on a stat sheet necessarily. Penetrates, draws a crowd, and when you have a player like Vertigan who can knock down that shot, it's a huge bonus. They make a living on three-pointers, almost 9 three-pointers a game. Oh, actually, they've had 9 three-pointers a game in the last 2 games. I think just over 8 three-pointers in the last 4 games, per game, I should say.
And there was a stretch of 277 consecutive games when SDSU made a three-pointer. Ashley tried to add to her total, but missed both. That is a stretch of 9 years where SDSU had a made three-pointer in every game, but that streak ended this season, December 17th at Missouri, when the Jacks were 0 for 7. But since then, as you said, Andrea, about 8 three-pointers per game. That's not 8 taken, that's 8 made.
It's about 20 taken, I believe. I was looking at some of their old box scores, 8 seconds on the shot clock.
Knocked away by Corinne Campbell. Ahead to Brittany McCoy. McCoy throws it up, and she's fouled.
See flashes of Brittany McCoy's just speed and control out there on the floor. Watch Corinne Campbell, speaking of speed and athleticism. She's out there right now to play defense on Vogel and some of the other great shooters for South Dakota State. And I think she's pretty fired up to be able to get into this game and use the skill set she has.
Brittany McCoy hits her first free throw. I don't think Corinne Campbell left her feet to block that shot, honestly. She had a couple of blocks in that game at Northwestern on Thursday. 8 points and 11 rebounds in 20 minutes, plus 2 assists and 2 blocks. Not bad for a true freshman. We are tied up here at 10 at Williams Arena with 14:10 to play in the first half.
Just great job by Minnesota, denying direct passes into the post, denying the reversal passes. South Dakota State really doesn't have an answer right now. They're not really the type of team that's able to actually put the ball on the floor and create for themselves. So watch Brittany McCoy here. Great job, hands up, guarding the three-pointer, but also keeping her legs down so she's able to defend the penetration.
Ashley Muckenhern had it out in the corner to Korneman. And now back to Muckenhern, drives baseline, beats the shot clock. A nice move from Ashley Muckenhern.
I think you'd want it in the hands of your captain at a time like that. She's very, very poised.
McCoy inside to Campbell, it's knocked away.
I think Campbell's still trying to get a feel for how to play in the post. She's actually a true wing player, but is able to be successful in the post for Minnesota this season due to her athleticism. Defensively, she does great things. Still figuring out that skill set of a post player, though.
Here's Warkentine. And outside, the shot goes up from Bover. And Fox pushes it ahead to McCoy. The spin move from Brittany, but she couldn't finish.
And that was just a beautiful, beautiful pass up the floor. Way to go by, a nice job by Fox of seeing McCoy. Just gets the rebound, looks up the floor, and McCoy, watch her. She knows exactly where she is, has that great body control, and again, some of these freshmen, they're not really allowed to be freshmen yet, and they're still making freshman mistakes. I think in a year from now, McCoy's going to knock those shots down.
Allison Anderson, or excuse me, that is Muckenhern again. And now top of the key, the rebound, Warkentine. Korneman.
Call a 3-second call right there on Muckenhern. Muckenhern's playing the point guard right now as Vertigan has taken a seat.
The Golden Gophers will bring the ball up, leading in this, or trailing in this game, 12-10. This is a freshman, Brittany McCoy, with the basketball. And it's stolen away, and a nice steal by Muckenhern. It seemed like everyone else was frozen. Head Korneman has it. Inside.
3 seconds, one more time. Yeah.
Second call.
Kind of saved by the 3-second call right there. I was looking at Minnesota's lineup right now. They have 5 newcomers on the floor. So we get a chance maybe to see the turnovers here. Some of those turnovers you talked about, is it focus? Is it what? Minnesota has 4. The Jackrabbits have, was that 6 or 8? A lot of new faces on the floor, especially for Minnesota.
McCoy has it knocked away. Here's Vogel pushing it up the court. Megan Vogel, she's got Jordan Barnes to beat on defense. Gets her own rebound somehow, gives it off to Warkentine. The scoop shot is no good. Ooh, saved out of bounds by Katie Ohm. Or attempted to be saved from out of bounds, I should say. We've got a fast-paced game this afternoon, but right now the Jacks are up by 2. South Dakota State leads Minnesota 12-10. Sports Ultimate Nightly Highlight Show is here, the FSN Final Score. Every great highlight, every unforgettable moment, every night on FSN. It's the only national show that gives you nothing but wall-to-wall highlights. The FSN Final Score tonight at 10:30. The Golden Gophers here have had a little drought offensively and have not scored a basket since 15:53 on the clock, so almost 4 minutes without putting in a basket.
Well, really, Emily Fox started that first about 4-minute period and scored 6 points off penetration, getting to the hoop, using her athleticism and just her energy out there, and hasn't had much of a look since.
The inbounds pass is knocked away, and that's a turnover on the Jacks. Minnesota's Amy Fox will bring the ball up. The Gophers are shooting 44%, South Dakota State 42.
And that's 7 turnovers right there already by South Dakota State.
Jordan Barnes has it over to Fox. This is Katie Ohm.
Look at the pressure on the basketball by the South Dakota State players. Again, very, very disciplined defensively, like Minnesota. They're very disciplined.
Here's the side-by-side comparison where both teams are very, very similar, including having a high turnover margin, but when you only have one senior on each of these teams, those numbers are probably to be expected.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. And they do so many other good things, getting to the offensive boards, for example. I think they're really well disciplined, again, offensively and defensively. It's just that you have moments out there that, as we almost see another turnover.
Emily Fox got the high dribble going, but she also made the basket. And Fox is now 4 of 5 with 8 points.
Yeah, she looked a little fired up after she got tripped there at half court. Just said, hey, I'm taking this all the way.
It's a hot start for Emmy Fox, who is not known as much for her scoring as she is for just controlling the team and having some nice passes and racking up the assists.
Well, she's playing point guard right now with McCoy out, but she's moved to the 2 guard, and I think that's really helped her just be more free at the offensive end to get some shots, but she does a nice job at point guard as well.
Foul came before the shot. And Courtney Grimsrud will check back in for South Dakota State. And Allison Anderson is in the game, the freshman from New Richland, Minnesota.
South Dakota State has some good depth. This freshman class that they brought in has really provided them all kinds of alternatives.
Barnes lost the dribble. Milan has to come. Ellis Milan has to come all the way out. And now Fox sets it up again. Behind the back. Katie Ohms called for the travel.
Yeah, right now South Dakota State is switching on all on the ball screens, and Katie Ohm, I think, just a little bit surprised that somebody was right there when she went to use the screen.
That is the 7th turnover, actually 7 turnovers for South Dakota State and the 6th for Minnesota on that travel by Ohm. So Allison Anderson will run the point for SDSU. Morgan Meyer, another sub into the game. And quickly the 3-pointer goes up from Anderson. Do you think anyone on this team does not have the green light?
I don't think there's very many people that don't have the green light on South Dakota State. They practiced their 3-pointer. I watched them and shoot around. Everybody was shooting the 3. Everybody was knocking down the 3. It's just part of the game plan.
That usually results in a streaky team. When the shots are falling, unbelievable. When they're not, times are tough.
Against South Dakota State, just a great job defensively. M. Fox trying to make something out of nothing.
And Jordan Barnes is there for the offensive rebound. Feeds it inside. Ellis Milan had it knocked out of bounds, but they'll say it was off Ashley.
Nice hands right there by Allison Anderson. She went down low to double team on the post when Ellis Milan received the basketball. And just great quick hands. In fact, she's the quickest player on this team. You see Ellis Milan will catch the ball, double team from the guard. That's what South Dakota State wants to do. And the ball
hit it out of her hands and off her leg. That's turnover number 7 for Minnesota. Defensive pressure from Jordan Barnes on Anderson.
That's what Jordan Barnes is out there for. Had a few years away from basketball, still getting her skills back, but she can defend.
Jump shot from Workentine is strong. Emmy Fox has the rebound. Zoe Harper, number 20, is also in the game for Minnesota. 3-pointer from Barnes on the way. Roisland had the rebound there. Fakes the 3, take the 2. It's blocked. Zoe Harper is in the mix there. But Workentine comes away with it, and pushing it up quickly, Allison Anderson.
Just been
out of rhythm here.
Yeah. Well, you know, the physicality of this game is pretty impressive, and I'm impressed with the fact that South Dakota State is sticking with everything. You know, a team that's only, you know, has been in Division II for so long, but is now in Division I. I think that's the hardest thing to do, is stick with the physicality of the game, and they're doing an excellent job.
Emmy Fox's 3-pointer will not count. There was a whistle before the shot and a foul on Corinne Campbell.
Aaron Johnston is just in his 7th year this year. What a great job he's done with the program at South Dakota State. Pretty mild-mannered, but really has his kids playing well as a team. They've had some good wins this year against USC, for example, ranked in the polls.
Johnston graduated, well, is a native of Pine Island, Minnesota, and graduated from Gustavus Adolphus in St. Peter. I was talking to him before the game, and he said he would have friends and family here, but he kept saying, this game is not for me. This game is for the players.
Substitution for South Dakota State.
I think he's one of those guys that it's all about the players. He's pleading to his players. I was watching him, he was out on the floor just now, pleading to his players to do the right thing, maybe not force that pass in there, but put it on the floor and go to the basket. But Minnesota's done a nice job of taking away a lot of options for South Dakota State.
That's 8 turnovers now for South Dakota State. 8 for Minnesota as well. Roisland dumps it off to Campbell, and Corinne finishes the first basket of the game for Corinne Campbell.
And Barnes just using that almost bulldog-like attitude out there in her defense. She goes out there and plays hard.
Inside, it's Grimsrud, and she was met by some company. Courtney Grimsrud had it knocked away, and we have a 14-15 ball game here at Williams Arena. Megan Vogel is the leading scorer for the Jackrabbits, and she is just one of 5 players who are from Minnesota. It's the land of 10,000 connections. Allison Anderson, Stacy Oisted from Sartell near St. Cloud, Megan Vogel, Maria Bover from Worthington, Minnesota, and finally Laura Nielsen from Wilmer. And you know it is a big deal to be from Minnesota, go play your college ball at South Dakota State, and come back here for the first, maybe only time for a lot of these girls in their careers to play in this building.
You know that they want to bring their A game and that they're very, very excited about playing in front of friends and family, that it's only 4.5 hours from here to South Dakota State, but that can come here and play in the barn. It's such a historic place. A lot of these girls played in the state tournament here in the barn.
Courtney Grimsrud hits a couple of free throws for the Jacks, now up by 3.
We were saying at the break how choppy this game is, and it certainly is. I don't think teams are scoring kind of at will, and that's just a testament to the defense by both of these teams.
Roisland finds some daylight and finds a basket. Kelly Roisland rolls it around and in.
Yeah, you want to see that from your senior. She stepped up the last couple of times, put the ball on the floor, and just created something. Great defense by Zoe Harper down low. Again, taking away that high-low pass.
The defense from Minnesota is just sticky, but Vertigan finds an opening, and she hits.
She's pretty impressive from out there on the 3, gets her feet set. Great recognition of just finding her.
Andrea Vertigan is 3 for 3 from behind the arc. Roisland is looking for room. Zoe Harper throws it away. Stolen by Ashley Muckenhern, and Muckenhern will finish it off. The steal and the basket.
Yeah, Minnesota needs to be careful right now. They need to figure out an option other than Kelly Roisland, hopefully, that can be out there, score, maybe establish some sort of inside presence. They're turning the ball over a little too much.
And there it is again. Another turnover from Minnesota.
And these are those transition buckets we talked about. South Dakota State loves to get out and run, loves to get some easy ones in transition, and they're able to right now.
Muckenherd had the jump stop. She's fouled on the way to the basket. Minnesota right now needs to be concerned about turnovers with 10 now.
Well, just Zoe Harper just didn't see the defense, had her back to it. You need to be careful, pick the ball up, face the defense, and then Muckenherd, really, really athletic. Again, she plays on the perimeter, but she's got some nice size. She's 5'8", but she looks a lot bigger, able to get down the floor, get one of those easy transition buckets.
Muckenherd hits the first. She averages 7 points per game. And so far in this game, she's got 5 right now. The sophomore from Osceola, Wisconsin.
And just so people understand, this isn't surprising that South Dakota State is in this game with Minnesota right now. They've had some great games this year. They are a team that's beat some great teams. They beat Middle Tennessee State, who's 19 in the polls this year. They've beat Southern California, who was 19 at the time in the polls. So it's a team that knows how to win and knows how to compete with high-level teams.
Muckenherd almost knocked it away there from Kelly Roisland. It's an 8-2 run right now for SDSU, and there's another Minnesota turnover. Ashley Ellis-Milan threw it out of bounds.
Well, after praising the inside play, I think, of Minnesota in the open, right now Minnesota's inside play has been less than stellar, I would say. They're just not recognizing the double teams, not able to really get the ball out of the double teams to the open player.
And this is an independent year for SDSU, the third of 4, as Cornerman puts up the shot and it's rebounded by Fox. It's the transition from Division II to Division I. It's a 4-year process, and this is season number 3.
They'll be going to the Mid-Con next year. They're excited about that, having some consistency hopefully in their schedule.
Ashley Ellis-Milan converts at the other end. And that is a basket that Minnesota had been waiting a while for.
That certainly was. You know, having that inside presence is huge.
Underneath, Courtney Grimsrud got loose, and Grimsrud found 2 more.
I like the fact that Fox is starting to push things, push the tempo, get it up the floor. Just better decisions on scoring once you get the ball. You got to recognize the defense. Again, South Dakota State, how good have they been at recognizing where the ball is, stepping in and taking a couple of charges here? I mean, McCoy's a quick player, but puts her shoulder down, doesn't recognize the defense is there. You have 2 people on you like that. You have to figure out a way to kick it out, find the open player.
12 turnovers now for Minnesota. 25-18 is the score. Both teams are shooting in the mid-40%.
Well, when they get a shot off, that's the key, you know?
My goodness, Jennifer Warkentine rolled into the lane and was wide open, and quickly Pam Gordon will call a timeout. And I hear a lot of fans cheering right now, and they're not Minnesota fans. I think the Jacks brought a decent amount. I see a lot of blue around in the arena.
Certainly a lot of people here to see the Minnesota players, but I think there's some people from South Dakota State as well. And boy, Warkentine has just been really, really exceptional here. Her hustle, look at how far up the lane she drives Leslie Knight into a fronting position, has a wide open layup after that, but no weak side help. Just little breakdowns right now for Minnesota. You can kind of see it. South Dakota State's pushing the tempo a little bit more. Minnesota's not responding.
Overall, it's a 12-4 South Dakota State run. Since moving to Division I a few seasons ago, SDSU is 35-21 against Division I opponents. And I know Pam Borton and the Gophers don't look at this because it's a non-conference game. They don't think it's a cupcake. This isn't a chance to let up. They know SDSU is a legitimate team.
It's certainly not a day that you should be letting up, especially when you have, first of all, Minnesota kids that are coming in and playing for the first time, you know, in Williams in the barn. And second of all, just because South Dakota State is so well coached and they're really, really well motivated. They can't go to NCAA play, but they want to come out and play every single night and just play well and set a standard, I think, for South Dakota State as a Division I school for the years to come.
Kelly Roisland was trying to move through a couple of defenders, ended up on the floor.
Boy, she just continues to be aggressive, though, doesn't she? Doing some really good things. If there's one bright spot for Minnesota, it's been the play of Fox and of Roisland.
Fox tried to shove it in there to Leslie Knight. It's knocked out of bounds, though. Minnesota will have another try at it.
It's so hard to guard this out-of-bounds play when everybody's so spread out on the baseline. And look at the middle of the floor, wide open. So many things can happen. It's a dangerous place to be having to defend the ball.
Fox posts up, but can't get that one to fall. Knight is there, has the offensive rebound stripped away, though. And here comes Bird again.
Boy, the guards for South Dakota State continue to stay in the paint, keeping their hands active.
Vertigan throws it all the way across court to Morgan Meyer.
Great ball movement, though, by South Dakota State, continuing to make Minnesota work defensively, not giving them anything, and it wears down defenses.
Stolen away. Here comes Emmy Fox.
See if they can make something happen this time. Recognize, you know, drawing 4 people right there. Roisland brought 4 people together, found the open player. McCoy makes the right decision that time.
An athletic move from Brittany McCoy. Gophers are back within 7. Jacks try to answer on the drive, Morgan Meyer. And here's McCoy pushing.
Boy, look how physical it is inside. I don't know if you're watching the play on the interior with the posts, pushing, shoving.
Stolen away, and almost stolen right back. It's a turnover call, or a travel call, excuse me. So turnover very quickly.
A travel and a turnover.
Brittany McCoy for the Golden Gophers Had a nice 2 here, and Minnesota is back within 7 of the Jacks.
With the McCoy family.
Minnesota Wild Hockey returns to FSN North this evening as Marion Gabrick, Brian Ralston and company travel to Chicago to take on the Blackhawks. Wild Live gets you started at 5:30 on your home for Wild Hockey, FSN North. We have seen so many players come in and out of this game for SDSU. It's a constant, it seems, with the substitutions, but the reserves have combined to score in double figures every game this season.
It's great to have that kind of bench, a great luxury. You can play harder, longer, and they're interchangeable parts. I mean, so many of them, as we talked about, can shoot the 3 or take it inside. And McCoy's quickness.
Brittany McCoy has another basket here for the Golden Gophers. She's been on fire just lately. 2 for 4 now from the field.
And that, I'll tell you what, that's tough to guard for McCoy. Offensively, did a great job. Defensively, she comes down and she's having to guard Maria Bover at 6'1", who's a freshman. Just posts her up down low and gets an easy bucket.
Inside, Ashley Ellis-Milan can't get the roll.
Minnesota seems to be a little more rejuvenated, I guess, the last couple of minutes. Got Emily Fox back in the game, got Roislin back in the game. The post players are looking calmer. Good job by Ellis-Milan just to get the ball in before the defense can get there, make a move. Now, if you're going to be double teamed on the low block, you have to recognize that the defense is coming in, make a quick move, or let the defense come draw them, be a decoy, and kick out to somebody open.
Island misses the second, gets her own rebound, swings it around. Brianna Sally is in the game for the first time. Knocked away, though. Amy Fox lost the handle.
Again, just a double team. I can't believe how many times Minnesota's dribbling into or passing into double teams. Those turnovers, I bet most of their turnovers have come from that. Very
Three-pointer from the top of the key. Meyer hits it.
Did she call that?
She may have called that. Morgan Meyer hits 3. And right now, SDSU is 5 of 7. Inside, knocked away again, turnover number 15.
Yeah, and again, that double team, the only turnover I can think of other than the offensive foul on McCoy and then another offensive foul and a throw it out of bounds kind of play between McCoy and Roislin have all been on double teams.
Long shot from Warkentine is short off the rim. Sally leads the break, tosses it over to Knight from McCoy, and Leslie Knight finishes, has a chance for a 3-point play. Nice transition work from Minnesota.
Well, you have to like it, but Brianna Sally's in the game. 5'10" is able to just get the ball here on the rebound and handle it in transition. Nice looking fast break, great spacing, and great recognition right there by McCoy to give the ball up to Leslie Knight. Bigs running the floor is always a bonus.
So Knight will shoot 1, the junior from Minnetonka, who averages 7.5 points, 5 rebounds for Minnesota, and Leslie finishes off a 3-point play. So there is some life in the Gophers with 1.5 minutes to play.
Just a quick timeout right now by Aaron Johnson. I think a short timeout. He wants to just talk about the fact that Minnesota's gone into a full court press. He wants to make sure they take care of the basketball, I'm sure. And then just recognize the score, recognize the clock, figure out what they're supposed to be doing in the last 1:30 of this game. You don't want to let it get out of hand here when you're up by 6.
Coming up at halftime here at Williams Arena, we'll get you caught up with all the first half stats and highlights. We'll revisit Andrea's game plan, and we'll show you a little feature story on Leslie Knight, who has had some great travels, both personally, one for school, a trip for school, and a trip with the Big Ten foreign team. She's one of your favorites, I know, Leslie Knight.
Well, I've just known her for so long, too, and she's
so
just
nice.
A bundle of energy, such a positive young lady, positive, athlete, role model. Sat the pine for 2 years and now has had her opportunity and is making the most of it. Coaches always say that. It's all about opportunities.
And oftentimes it's about how you react to situations. And she certainly took a positive route with sitting for 2 years. Loose ball near the baseline. Emily Fox ends up just sitting on Courtney Grimsrud. And the Gophers will have the basketball.
Well, finally a little bit of help side defense right there. The ball was bobbled a bit as it went inside. But I like the energy Emily Fox is bringing to this game. She slowed down on her scoring from the first couple of minutes where she was red hot. But now leading at the point, doing a nice job.
She picked up her dribble there. We'll have to give it.
Prove me wrong now.
Spoke too quickly. McCoy has it. Leslie Knight, as we're now under a minute. Too many steps, though, for Knight. 16 turnovers.
She probably learned that overseas. When this summer.
Right.
From this, you'll hear all about that, I'm sure, during the break, right?
Of course. 16 turnovers for Minnesota, 11 for the Jacks. Andrea Vertigan has 9 points. She leads SDSU, knocked away by Sally. Brianna Sally is a freshman from St. Francis, Minnesota, who is just getting back into the groove after an injury and just starting to get timing and learning as a freshman. She's starting to see more minutes.
Yeah, but she's got great potential, that long, lanky, quick body.
She nearly had a steal there. The three-pointer, though, goes up from Workentine, rebounded by Fox. Emmy Fox, the crossover, dishes to McCoy. High-low, Ellis Milan inside to Knight, and Knight is fouled.
That was a nice look. I was impressed by the defense, I think, on Ellis Milan right there. Grimser did a great job of pressuring the ball, making it difficult to get it inside tonight. That's Leslie Knight. She's got that strong body, and she's a little bit undersized. She's 6'1". She's actually grown a couple inches since she's been here. Did you know that? Since she entered college, she's grown a couple.
Of course I knew that.
Substitution for Minnesota, 31, Jordan Barnes for 4.
Jordan Barnes checks back in for Minnesota, and Knight will have the 1-and-1. Leslie Knight has been part of that post combination that has been so much improved for Minnesota. Join FSN North in reliving one of the best seasons in Minnesota Twins history. Dick Bramer is your host for Twins Classics. You can see Mondays at 7 p.m. on FSN North. This week, the Twins Classic features the Twins spoiling Roger Clemens' 2006 Astros debut from June 22nd, 2006.
That was a sweet game.
Liriano,
don't you remember?
Yes, oh, absolutely.
I better remember, otherwise I'd be divorced, I think.
Your husband is well connected with that Twins organization. Here's McCoy with 12 seconds left to play in the first half. Roisland to the lane, kicks it out. McCoy has it. She drives baseline, finds Leslie Knight underneath, and Knight finds the hoop. Leslie Knight scored a basket with about 2 seconds left on the clock to give Minnesota a little momentum heading into the locker room, and that's something the Golden Gophers definitely needed, Andrea.
Yeah, they started off really, really hot, but had a bit of a lull, and South Dakota State did a really nice job keeping their intensity. That bucket helped a lot with the attitude going into the half.
We'll take a break here at halftime. Minnesota is within 3 points of South Dakota State. We'll be back here at Williams Arena. Here are the leading scorers in this game so far for Minnesota. It's Emily Fox, who had 8 almost right out of the gate. Leslie Knight finished the half with 6 straight points. Brittany McCoy has 6, and for the Jacks, Andrea Vertigan and Jennifer Workentine with 9 and 7.
And who's not on that board, Megan Vogel, very, very quiet, mostly because Minnesota's giving her so much attention when she's at the offensive end, doing a nice job of kind of taking away easy looks. There you see Vertigan, the point guard for South Dakota State, deadly from outside.
Megan Vogel averages 17 points per game for South Dakota State, but she is only 1 for 3 in this game with 2 points. She'll be inbounding the ball right in front of us for SDSU, but is she a player? She's a senior, so she's going to be smart. Do you think she's going to look to force herself into the scoring column more?
I don't think so. I think she's that kind of player. She's a team player. I do expect, though, for Minnesota to make some adjustments. Things are going to change out there. She might get some more open looks. In fact, Minnesota goes to their little 2-3 zone with a trap at the top. Megan Vogel might be licking her chops right now against the zone.
Shot from the baseline. Workentine fills it up.
But
Jennifer Workentine has 4 points.
it seems like she's done more than that. You know, she has only 4 points out there, but she's
9 points.
9 points. I was going to say
she's got 4 something. I read on the stat sheet. Can I tell you how small the print is on this stat sheet that I've been squinting in front of?
I would guess it's 4 field goals and a free throw, maybe, or something like that.
Monitor, I should say. 11 points, 9 points for Workentine.
Enough.
For number 44, Workentine. Here's Leslie Knight with the offensive rebound. Roisland barrels her way down the baseline, and it's rebounded by Workentine.
I have a feeling
brings it up.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Minnesota went in at the half and talked about a few things. One thing they got to do is figure out how to double team on that isolation or get better help side. But the other thing Minnesota needs to do is probably isolate their guards on the outside, give them some chances to maybe penetrate to the basket. They had a lot of success with that.
Ashley Ellis-Milan is fouled. At the other end, it was Courtney Grimsrud who made that first shot for SDSU.
I didn't see South Dakota State double team down onto Ellis-Milan on that play right there. They might have changed their strategy at half. I would love to be in the locker room for those half times just to see what the coaches are saying and how they're trying to figure out how to gain the next advantage, what adjustments need to be made.
Ellis-Milan hits the first free throw. And the second as well. So it's a 5-point ball game. Fox applies the full court pressure, so does Knight. And if there's one area where you know Minnesota really tightens up and something that the Gophers can fall back on every game, it's defense. And defense right there almost causes the turnover. Now there's a scramble for it. Loose ball and a jump ball. So Minnesota is getting scrappy here to start the second half of play.
Well, Fox has been scrappy this entire game. You saw her offensively, and then defensively, she's doing a nice job as well. She's got those long arms, quick hands, as we know.
Yes, as the Guinness Book of World Record holder in the sport of cup stacking.
Widely known. 5 seconds on the shot clock.
There's Workentine beating the shot clock, but can't find the basket. And Grimsrud had it for just a moment. And now Kelly Roisland recovered it and called a quick timeout.
Again, it continues just to be very, very physical underneath. You see Zoe Harper with a smile on her face. I bet she's smiling because her mom's in town. What do you think?
Her mom surprised her last week coming in from Australia. So the Gophers will take a seat and Pam Gordon will address the team. Let's look at what happened last week before the game against Northwestern. That's Zoe's mom, or mom as she calls her, who flew in from Australia and surprised Zoe. And the reaction is just priceless. This makes me tear up every time I watch it. That just happened at Brittany McCoy's house because McCoy is from just outside of Chicago, Lincolnwood, Illinois. And there's Mom. There's Sandra, who was in town for about 10 days. And Zoe had no idea. I talked to her before the game, and she said she was absolutely shocked. Brittany McCoy was the only player who knew she was coming.
I can't believe that they kept that secret. Actually, I can believe that Brittany McCoy did. That is a young lady that has a lot going for her and does a lot of really nice things, very poised, and nice little surprise for her Aussie teammate, her Aussie mate. Aussie mate. I can't do it. I sound like some bad English.
I love listening to Zoe Harper. As a matter of fact, we'll have a little feature on Gopher Weekly coming up on Tuesday with Zoe Harper. And you'll see that video again with her mom. Her mom, excuse me. She said she doesn't call practice, she calls it training.
Yes.
And cookie is biscuit. And she said, she had Thanksgiving here, and she said, I never heard of anyone making a pie out of a pumpkin. That was my attempt at the Aussie accent. It was just a privilege to talk to her. Shot clock is winding down. It's at 5, and McCoy tried to go inside. The pass was knocked away, though, and Minnesota will have 4 seconds on the shot clock. Emily Fox will inbound from underneath the Gophers basket. Roislin takes a couple dribbles into the lane, left-handed, gets it up before the buzzer, and down for 2. Boy, nice move from the senior.
Yeah, South Dakota State really does an excellent job of being stingy defensively, but they can't seem to guard Minnesota's dribble drive.
Grimsrud goes underneath to Warkentine. It's stolen away, and here is Fox at the other end. Quick pass to Leslie Knight, and Leslie converts. The Gophers are within 1.
M. Fox making it happen defensively, getting out, making things happen as a playmaker.
Grimsrud tries to answer back. Roislin rebounds, and Fox pushes it once again. And now she'll set it up. McCoy has it, and inside to Knight. She couldn't get them back-to-back baskets. Ashley Muckenhern will bring it up for the Jacks.
The Jacks again trying to look for something in transition or secondary transition. Leslie Knight with her shoe untied out there. Hopefully nobody trips.
Vertigan launches the 3 and hits the 3. Andrea Vertigan from long range has had some success in this ball game. 4 for 4.
Isn't it nice when you can just come down after Minnesota makes a little run and just, you know, calmly knock down a 3. Great weapon to have, and they have so many of them.
Shot from Roislin is off, and there's Vertigan with the rebound.
Vertigan eyes up, great job. I was just looking at that. She does a nice job of looking away from where she's gonna pass, but all along she knew she had somebody filling on the right lane.
That was Muckenhern. And there was some juice on that pass. I was looking at Vertigan, I saw it in her face.
Look at that textbook shot right there, little teardrop. Just watch her in the open floor. Yeah, she's just in the open floor. And did you see her look away for just a second at the player who was on her left, just to make Roislin move a little bit more towards her right, Roislin's right, and Muckenhern's left. Wait, let's just skip that. Nice pass.
I'll let you mull that one over. Muckenhern misses the first.
Oh, scary.
And Jordan Barnes is back in for Minnesota. And we will see the defense step up even more with Barnes in the ballgame.
Well, somehow you need to get a little bit of a leash on Vertigan out there at the point guard. You need to make sure you stay in her face in the transition game and the half-court set.
Ashley Ellis-Milan has it outside the three-point line, and Knight is also up top. The post players have traveled far, not from the block, and speaking of traveling, Leslie Knight is whistled for that.
So those set plays by Minnesota trying to take advantage of Knight's ability to just put it on the floor and go by the defense. Again, excellent defense by South Dakota State.
Also good defense from the Gophers as Knight came over to trap. And inside, nearly knocked away by Knight. Vogel is there for the rebound. They'll say her foot is on the line.
There's a timeout.
And there is a turnover for the Jacks. The Gophers will have the basketball with Mum Harper looking on. Her daughter Zoe and the Golden Gophers trail SDSU by 4.
This time we invite you to get out your seat.
Vogel only has 2 points in this game and averages 17, and she is 6th on South Dakota State's career point list, now with 1,587. This is her 106th career game and her 106th career start. And this season, Vogel has scored in double figures 14 of the 16 games, and in her career, 86 of 105, this obviously being 106. So it is rare that Vogel does not reach double figures, and so far in the game, she has 2 points and is 1 of 3 from the floor.
I think Minnesota's keen on her so much, and the way she usually gets her points is playing inside, outside. She's very, very versatile. Minnesota has some players that can D her up, but I don't think that Megan Vogel is dissatisfied with not scoring. I think she's, I mean, I've seen her play since she was young as well, since a St. Peter native, as we've talked about, from Minnesota, played in the AAU system here, and always been a team player, worked hard at her game, competitor, wants to win.
She has 2 rebounds and 2 assists, but I think all that she needs to be concerned with is that score. And as long as her team is winning, she's doing something right. And she doesn't need to change too much.
Yeah, and don't be surprised if she steps up late in the game to make some big buckets, just like the other senior on the floor.
The other senior, Kelly Roislin, hits 3 more, and she now has 9 points.
Boy, Barnes'
That's the
defense.
first 3 for Minnesota in this game.
Wow. Tenacious defense, starting off with Barnes and just setting the tone defensively on the basketball, giving Vertigan just a face full of hands.
Grimsrud has Ashley Ellis-Milan defending. Offensive rebound came to Vogel, stripped away though, and here's Roisland leading the break. She's got Barnes ahead, but goes to Ellis-Milan, who throws up the shot, and Vertigan comes down and will head the other way, fouled by Roisland.
Well, there's a lot of contact on each one of those plays at both ends of the floor. Interesting they picked that foul to call. It's getting a little frenetic in here. I think that South Dakota State is content to play kind of frenetic.
I don't.
Okay, frantic. Sorry, frantic.
Well, the pace has had moments at the start of the game, and now here in the last couple of minutes, it has had moments where it's like one team will kind of get out of whack, and then the other team follows right along. That time it was matched by each team, and there'll be moments like that, and then both teams will settle in.
Well, it seems like South Dakota State actually is more capable of playing at that kind of pace. They seem to excel at it. They don't give in to the pressure. Minnesota has,
offensive rebound and board.
Yeah, Minnesota has yet to prove that they can play at a fast pace with South Dakota State. This is what happened in the first half, if you remember. Minnesota played well. It got a little bit quicker, a little less disciplined.
Roisland, back-to-back three-pointers, one from each baseline. Kelly Roisland has 12 points, and that is Minnesota's first lead since the Gophers were up 8-7.
Really getting the crowd into it, everybody on their feet in the arena.
Actually, we're tied. This could be Minnesota's first lead. I must have thought that was a 4-pointer. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Wow. But how about that? 3-pointer, Maria Boger.
Boger's hit some big shots in her career. In fact, she's hit 3 of them this year against several different teams. Just able to step out as a freshman and feel very, very poised on the perimeter.
Knocked away by Vogel, but there was a little too much contact, and Megan Vogel picks up the foul.
32, Megan Vogel. That is her third personal.
3 fouls now on Vogel.
Substitutions for
3 fresh Jackrabbits come into the game. I guess I should say Jackrabbit players. And Amy Fox checks back in for Minnesota. And Zoe Harper as well. Corinne Campbell is into the game, so we've got some fresh legs on each team.
It's been such a fast-paced game the last couple of minutes. I think some people need breaks. It's incredible how competitive both of these teams are. It's an important game for both teams.
Roisland crosses over, feeds Campbell. Corinne is short. Zoe Harper had it for a minute. Knocked out of bounds, and Minnesota will keep it. And South Dakota State plays tomorrow night at home against Minnesota Duluth. And I asked Coach Johnston if he needed to scale back on anyone or if he worried about the back-to-back, and he said, we play so many players, that's not a problem for us. Roisland again, 3 straight three-pointers for number 3, Kelly Roisland. The senior has taken over here this afternoon for the Golden Gophers, and we're tied again. Drive on the other end. Katie Korneman couldn't hit.
Boy, a big turnaround with 3s in the second half. We saw that graphic. 1 3-pointer for South Dakota State. 3 of 5 for Minnesota this half. All Kelly Roisland. She hit 5 for 5 a couple of weeks ago.
She's very capable of it. And there's only a 2-pointer, but still, Roisland has the hot hand with 4 straight baskets. Knocked out of bounds. South Dakota State will have it underneath the basket. The clock has not run for about the last 30 seconds here. The game clock has been stuck at 12:46. And I don't know if the officials have even noticed.
I think they're about to notice.
Of course, the clock should be stopped right now, so it's hard to tell.
Well, it's interesting.
See once it's inbounded.
Yeah, it's interesting that that's the case because the officials really should have taken notice of that.
And now we're back on track. There will be a few extra seconds played in this game, however. McCoy grabs the defensive rebound. Brianna Sally. And Zoe Harper, fresh legs in for Minnesota. Kelly Roislin has scored the last 11 points for Minnesota, but I'm going to make a call that she won't get the next 2 because she's on the bench.
Listen to me shake my head.
Yes, I hear you shaking your head.
South Dakota State substitution is 32.
Megan Vogel is back in for the Jacks, still sitting on 2 points, but she's taken one more shot and is now 1 of 4. Underneath, Jordan Barnes inbounds to Campbell. Ooh, Campbell turns, and it looks like might have thrown an elbow, but the shot is short. And the Jacks have it. Up ahead, looking for Vogel, but it's Bover.
Well, the pass actually was to Vogel. It's a nice job of getting it up the floor. I think Bover didn't see Vogel behind her and assumed that it was for her.
Turnover number 14 for South Dakota State.
Bird again getting the ball up the floor quickly. And again, just miscommunication and not seeing who's on the floor.
The Gophers have done a better job of taking care of the basketball. Did I almost speak too soon? 16 turnovers at halftime, but just 1 so far in the second half.
9 seconds on the shot clock.
Corinne Campbell in traffic, dumps it off beautifully, and Brianna Sally is fouled. So Brianna Sally will head to the free throw line, but the Golden Gophers have taken the lead behind the hot hand of Kelly Roislin. And Minnesota's back up by 2 points. FSN North is giving you a chance to relive one of the greatest bowl games, the 2007 Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. See the Boise State Broncos' incredible upset victory over the Oklahoma Sooners in what is one of the most unforgettable finishes in college football history. The 2007 Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, relive it on Monday at 12 o'clock noon on FSN North. Freshman Brianna Sally is at the free throw line for the first time in her Minnesota Golden Gopher career. Pam Borton and Aaron Johnston are talking it over with an official. I'm not sure if they're talking about the clock, which has been working again. I think they're trying to decide
between them if they should put more time on it or take it off. But they're going to go back, I'm sure, and look at the clock here on the monitor on the other side of the floor from us.
There was a period of, I'm going to say 20 seconds or so, where the clock just didn't start. And so, if anything, there would be time taken off, but I'm
going to go for more than 20. You can have
more than 20 seconds?
Under 20, and I'll take
I see.
I see. Here. It's going to take them a little while to watch this, I believe, because they're going to have to figure out how much time how much time the clock was stopped and how much time the play was going on without it running, and then deduct that, probably.
Is there a formula for this, Andrea?
Where's my husband when I need him? That's what I would assume, that they'd go back and take the time off the clock. That seems like the right thing to do. I usually try to go with my gut instinct and what the right thing is to do if I don't know the actual rule.
We talked about South Dakota State being a legitimate Division I team, even though SDSU is in that transition period from Division II to Division I. But this team, when it was Division II, made 3 consecutive Elite 8 appearances and won the national championship in Division II in 2003 and had a 32-3 record that season. So SDSU has had a lot of success in Division II and is on the verge of having success in D1 as well. That's the first free throw for Brianna Sally in her Golden Gopher career.
And the clock will stand as is at 11:34. Simply because they had no way of really going back to check on the clock to see how much time had gone off.
And it's running again, which is a good sign. There's a trap defense for Minnesota.
Again, just that 2-3 zone that's a trap at the top to kind of surprise people. It slowed South Dakota State down. 15 seconds off the shot clock already.
Vogel gives it up to Muckenhern, and that three-pointer is off, rebounded by Sally.
Really, South Dakota State has gone cold here. The last few minutes, I haven't seen them hit a bucket.
Gopher defense has stepped up, and the Gopher offense, thanks mostly to Kelly Roislin, has turned hot. And so the score has turned as well. The lead is Minnesota's by 3, but Ashley Ellis-Milan throws that one away.
Just a miscommunication between a redshirt freshman and a true freshman. There's 4 freshmen from Minnesota out on the floor right now, and Emily Fox, a sophomore, so a very young team at a critical time in the game.
Workentine has it guarded by Corinne Campbell. Workentine throws it up. Ellis-Milan grabs the rebound. So South Dakota State continues to struggle from the floor. Amy Fox spins back toward the basket. Shot from the baseline, rebounded by Campbell. And that is why Corinne Campbell is so high on that Big Ten list in offensive rebounds, because every time a shot goes up, she's looking to grab the board.
She just hasn't figured out how to finish around the rim as we get a look at the field goal percentage here in the game. Gophers 45, Jackrabbits 41.
And it's been that way throughout most of the game. The lob inside to Grimsrud is knocked away. So with 6 seconds on the shot clock, the Jacks will have it underneath their own basket as Roislin checks back in for Minnesota. And Jordan Barnes is on her way as well.
I'm sure one of the adjustments at halftime was how do we get help side on some of these lobs and some of the penetration. Brittany McCoy's been there a lot of the time in help side, really, really giving her teammates a boost.
Grimsrud takes the pass and quickly converts for 2.
And there's just so much time left in this game. 9:40 right now left in the game.
Grimsrud is into double figures with 10 points. Corinne Campbell through the double team and off the blue jerseys and off the rim, or off the backboard, excuse me. Campbell converts.
And that's just a bonus if Corinne Campbell can hit that kind of shot right there, but that shows her athleticism.
4 points now for Campbell. Again, Grimsrud underneath. She was the last one to touch it. Minnesota will have it.
What's really interesting about the fact that Brittany McCoy is helping inside and really doing a nice job of forcing turnovers, getting a couple of steals maybe for Minnesota on help side is she's the one guarding Megan Vogel. You would think that Vogel would then get some open shots if there was just some recognition, possibly faking the pass inside and then kicking it to Vogel real quick. I would like to see Megan Vogel get some more shots. I'm sure that Erin Johnston would like to see Megan Vogel get some more shots.
Campbell throws it inside. Ashley Ellis-Milan catches, shoots, and scores. It's a 10-2 Minnesota run.
It's just been like a complete turnaround defensively with these two teams. South Dakota State was doing a good job of double teaming in the first half. They're not this half. Minnesota is doing a poor job of help side in the first half, and they're doing a good job in this half.
Muckenhern has it guarded very closely by Jordan Barnes.
Just a really poised team, though. They don't seem shaken by this pressure, do they?
Here's Vogel with 5 on the shot clock, and she's called for the travel. So the tide has definitely turned here at Williams Arena. South Dakota State has 16 turnovers, and Minnesota has 18. Those are big numbers when you still have 8.5 minutes left to play.
Well, if you remember, most of the turnovers for Minnesota came in the second part of the first half. So there's a lot of time left to try to execute and not turn the ball over for Minnesota.
Amy Fox is short on 3, ahead to Muckenhern. She's tied up there, though, by McCoy and Fox.
Well, again, McCoy just making something happen defensively. She's so poised and so heady out there that looks like they're going to call it.
Foul is called on McCoy.
Yeah, just, not a very strong call right there, but
probably setting a tone for how physical they'll let this game get.
Wow, it's been pretty physical. It's just, it's an interesting situation in that call. You're double team, somebody sticks a hand in there, the ball gets deflected. Sometimes officials need to wait a second before they make the call.
Megan Vogel is offline on the 3-point attempt.
Boy, it's been a tough night for Megan Vogel.
And that is the first 3-pointer she shot in this game this afternoon. The Golden Gophers are on a 10-2 run and have their biggest lead of the afternoon. And if you're Pam Morton and you're talking to your team, what kind of things, Andrea, are you highlighting so that this lead stays?
I think her team needs to continue to stay aggressive. I'm sure that's what she was probably talking about in the huddle. They also need to just keep their poise. Right now, you know, you have to remember South Dakota State's the type of team that as Pam says, stick a three, and you have to stay out there, keep your poise if that happens, and continue to play hard. Been very impressed with the play of the young players here today. McCoy has been exceptional defensively. I think Campbell's doing a really, really good job of getting some good minutes in there, rebounding the ball, giving him a point here or there.
You said stick a three, and I will say stick 7 threes, because that's what SDSU has. 7 of 16 compared to Minnesota 3 of 8. Roisland, though, tried to make it 4. Tipped around, Fox comes away with it.
Well, that's
fresh 30 for Minnesota.
And a big rebound right there by Corinne Campbell. You see why she's in the game. You saw that. Did you see that graphic up there a minute ago as far as youth? Minnesota's the third youngest team in the country.
Coming into this season with 7 total years of varsity experience.
And just a little Nova pass right there. Going into traffic, you have to be careful. You draw that much of a crowd, maybe just kick it out.
Important possessions now for South Dakota State. There's a kick or a foul.
I think it's a kick, and they're going to put 15 seconds on the shot clock. That is the rule. You don't reset the shot clock completely to back to 30 like you used to.
Fox will sit out as Jordan Barnes comes back in for defensive purposes. Andrea Vertigan had a tough time just getting it in, and then Maria Boger lost it on the baseline.
And who made that play happen? But Corinne Campbell just getting through those up screens, sliding through just almost a post-to-post screen. That's a tough thing to guard when the ball's out of bounds. Those are the kind of things Corinne does that don't show up on a stat sheet. I mean, her rebounds show up, the points when she can get them show up, but those little plays defensively are invaluable.
Kicked away by Vertigan, and there's Aaron Johnston on the bench talking to Bover.
I think he's just saying, you know what, you can't go one-on-one against a player like that. You need to reverse the basketball, maybe dive to the block afterwards. Use your team play to beat quickness. A lot of deflections here today.
Taken away by Greensrud. Turnover number 20 for the Golden Gophers. There's Vertigan quickly inside a working team, but she had it knocked away.
Just seems like there's always a guard, whether it's McCoy or Roisland or Fox or whoever, that's down there in the paint to get their hands on those balls.
Shot fake from Ashley Ellis-Milan.
Roisland hustling at the offensive end, getting a lot of points on the board, but then defensively, just a breakdown by somebody. She's in help side position. The offense turns right into her. I'd like to say she skied for the block. The offense turns right into her.
Campbell makes a nice move offensively. Corinne Campbell turns around, shoots and scores. 6 points for the freshman.
Just that raw athleticism.
Too high on the entry pass inside. And 17 turnovers now for South Dakota State, make that 18.
And Corinne Campbell around the ball again.
She has been everywhere.
Well, she's been out there a long, long time for Minnesota. She usually plays only 2-3 minutes at a time, but today she's been out there a good 7-8 minutes maybe, making that play happen right there.
Credit Ashley Ellis-Milan with the rebound.
Milan is going to get the rebound, but Campbell is the one that got their hand on that first rebound to tip it to Ellis-Milan. Then she's going for the ball, being aggressive again, and gets a foul going over the back. It's a push, I guess, technically is the actual call.
The foul on Campbell is her third. 5.5 minutes to play. Marnie Gellner and Andrea Lloyd Curry here at Williams Arena with a 53-46 Minnesota lead. Here's Megan Vogel back into the game. The leading scorer with 17 points per game. Just gave herself 2 more. Now Vogel has 4.
If Megan Vogel's going to come off that screen and the post player isn't going to hedge it all, and she has the ability to go straight to the basket, pretty sure she's going to score pretty much every time.
We'll see if this jump starts something for Vogel. Baseline shot. Brittany McCoy is in. It's 2 points, but it's an important 2 for Minnesota.
I I think Pam Borton was trying to call a timeout. She's trying to get Leslie Knight back in the game. Maybe have as a player that's fatigued or senses that they need a timeout.
Buckenhern gets it underneath the working team.
And I think that's why she wanted a timeout. I think Ellis Milan right now is a little bit tired out there. Look, Campbell doesn't step out. She needs to step out and hedge on that play right there. You see McCoy the other end, just calmly knocking down that shot. Freshman play.
Workentine averages 9 points, but has scored in double figures in 6 of the last 8 games. And there you see Knight back in the game, and Corinne Campbell sitting down.
And Campbell did an excellent job. I wouldn't be surprised to see her back out here in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Campbell goes out with 6 points and 5 rebounds.
Every time she scores, it's almost on a broken play. Vertigan has, is that 4 4-pointers on the, or 3-pointers on the night?
Vertigan has 4 made field goals. I'm waiting for the stat sheet to update, so I'll let you know as soon as we get
a little bit of a mismatch down low as Vertigan was attempting to guard Ashley Ellis Milan.
Andrea Vertigan is 5 of 5 from behind the arc. 5 of 6 total in this game. Vertigan is leading SDSU in scoring with 15 points.
That's tough to do as a point guard. I mean, you have a lot of responsibilities as a point. Often it's not scoring a bunch of threes.
Fox looks for options, has Ellis Milan, who barrels into the lane, and she's fouled. That was an aggressive move for Ashley Ellis Milan, who didn't really have a lot of room to work with there.
Well, she's being guarded by Grimsrud, who probably gives up about, oh gosh, 50 pounds at least to Ashley Ellis Milan, doing a nice job of using that frame she has and creating space. That's what, you know, you use what God gave you, right?
Well, and the look on her face there looks like she's had a frustrating afternoon, like it's been a long afternoon.
Well, she's been double teamed and a lot of the time when she's received the ball inside, been crashing the boards. There's always a lot of traffic in there, but just a lot of physicality in this game. People on the floor in this, like on this last play right here.
Vertigan pushes it ahead and then brings it back out. She's the leader with 15 points in the game so far.
The energy of South Dakota State right now looks really, really good. They look like they were out there with purpose up until this last pass.
Inside, Grimsrud gives it up to Workentine, who drives on Knight, misses the offensive board, and the shot also no good before Ellis Milan comes away with it. And 4 points is the lead for Minnesota.
It looked like kind of a quick shot on that offensive rebound, but the ball had not hit the rim, so the clock had not reset, the shot clock. So it was a smart play to shoot it up.
Breslin goes inside to Knight. Knight spins, shoots. Workentine has the rebound. Jordan Barnes pressures Vertigan as she brings it up the court.
Barnes has just been a big factor, hasn't she? Defensively, giving fits to the point guards out there.
And she's been subbing in consistently in the last few minutes with Emily Fox. There's a three-pointer up and in for Jennifer Workentine.
That's a nice job of having confidence in herself. She lacks that once in a while, but Workentine stepping up at a big time, being aggressive with the basketball.
This South Dakota State team could have easily laid down when the tide turned in the second half, but there is no give up in this team. There's a lot of fight from these Jackrabbits. Leslie Knight keeps it alive for Minnesota. And there's a timeout called by Pam Borton, with her team leading by 1 point with 2:36 left to play. Here's that last three-pointer from the Jacks. They're 9th in the ballgame.
Leslie Knight just not getting out on the shooter, and that's the difficulty when you're playing South Dakota State. You have a player like Jennifer Workentine, who at 6 foot will take you down low, post up. She's guarded by Leslie Knight, and then she just steps out and calmly knocks down the three at a critical time.
That's part of a 9-3 South Dakota State run.
And this is a team, you know, South Dakota State, again, they're not going to die. They've been tested over the last few years. They know what it's like, even if it was at D2, to get to Elite Eights, to play in big games, to play with a lot of pressure. 9 for 18. Look at that for South Dakota State, the difference really. But, you know, the Golden Gophers continue to be aggressive. They continue to take the ball to the basket.
South Dakota State is trying to break a Sunday losing streak. Right now, the Jacks have 3 straight Sunday losses in a row. And of course, today being Sunday, would like to come away with a win. But then, as we talked about before, has to go back home and play Minnesota Duluth back in Brookings tomorrow night. Roisland's 3 was ahead of the shot clock, but off, and Minnesota once again keeps it alive with the offensive board.
And if you go back and look at that play, it was Corinne Campbell again, just crashing the boards, made the South Dakota State players, both of the interior players, go after her, and Ellis Milan was able to get her hands on the basketball.
Roisland drives, finds some open lane, but I thought there might have been an extra step in there, and so did the referee.
A little hop, skip, and jump.
The travel on Roisland is the 21st turnover for the Golden Gophers, who are hanging on to a 1-point lead. We're under 2 minutes to play now in the game. We have a 1-point game at Williams Arena with 1:55 left. Minnesota leads the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State. After this game, Minnesota will head to Illinois to play the Illini on Thursday of next week, and then we're back here at Williams Arena, a game on FSN North on the 21st, 1 week from tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, against Penn State. Then on the road at Iowa and Wisconsin, and back home against Purdue. The Wisconsin game can also be seen on FSN North. And that is a hefty schedule, but you know what? That Big Ten is so tough year in and year out. It's just kind of a shift in the powerhouse teams. And this is no, it may be a break away from conference play, the Gophers playing South Dakota State, but not in intensity, not in talent. Vogel in the lane, up and in, 2 more for Megan Vogel. She has 6.
And a big bucket right there, right-handed. She is left-handed. We haven't been able to talk about that very much, but a nice drive. She's got such great strength.
We haven't talked about it much because she hasn't shot a whole lot. Roisland is short. Ellis Milan, offensive rebound. Defensive rebound, though, and a big one for Warkentine.
We talked about rebounding being so big, and it really has been. Minnesota crashing the boards hard every single time, and South Dakota State just able to come up, maybe not with the first rebound, but the second one.
Nice defense there. Brittany McCoy knocks it away from Vertigan and calls the timeout just like that with 1:01 left, and the Jackrabbits up by 1.
Well, Brittany McCoy, again, I've been impressed with her defensively today. Hit a couple of good shots, but defensively, she's just been so solid. All 94 feet. She can create such havoc with her length and with her quickness. Such a tremendous athlete. 56-57 right now. Boy, a minute and a half left. I'd like to see some more of this, maybe from Megan Vogel. Again, she's got that great body at 5'11", guarded by McCoy, who's a little bit thinner than she is. Just elevates over the top of the help side defense, and it would be a good time for Megan Vogel to get going.
South Dakota State took the lead back on that Vogel basket and hadn't led since it was 44-41. In the second half with 13.5 minutes to play. So Minnesota took the last 12 minutes, 12.5 minutes with the lead and now just gave it up. So we'll see what unwinds here in the final minute of play from Williams Arena. Brittany McCoy has it, the freshman from Minnesota. She'll go off the screen from Corinne Campbell, dump it inside to Ellis Milan, and Ashley is fouled. That was a dangerous pass.
Earlier today in shoot-around with Pam Borton, I was listening in on their huddle and kind of overheard the fact that she said, you know, it's going to come down to the last couple of possessions, and it's going to come down to who can execute. Couldn't be more true right now.
Was she looking into a crystal ball when she said it?
All coaches are.
Ellis Milan misses the first free throw attempt.
I'm going to see some strategic moves here going on. I mean, Barnes back in the game for defensive purposes. Fox will probably come back in for offense. The timeout situation is going to play a factor. Minnesota has only 1 timeout. South Dakota State has 4 left in the game.
Ellis Milan is a 62% free throw shooter, but she missed both of them. Critical misses.
No 10-second backcourt call, remember?
That's right, so SDSU can take all the time it wants to bring the ball up the court. Megan Vogel. Guarded closely by McCoy, is taken away by Roisland. And nearly stolen back by Vogel.
And there wasn't much of a foul right there by Vogel, but I thought that Roislund just got hammered when she stole the ball in that first play. It almost looked like she should have had a layup. Just great anticipation defensively by Roislund.
That is her fourth personal, the sixth.
4 fouls now on Megan Vogel.
Vogel really having no place to go. McCoy did a nice job of cutting off the baseline. It's always a risky pass when you're throwing the ball back up or across the lane.
Minnesota will take a 60.
Pam Borton takes a timeout to talk things over. With 22 seconds left in the game, do you play for a last-second shot, you think, Andrea?
Well, I think you have to give yourself a chance to get a good shot early enough so that if you miss, you have another chance, or you can foul or something like that to try to get the ball back.
So you try to put a shot up at about 6?
I think you just run a play and try to get a shot here pretty quick and put the pressure back on South Dakota State to score. That would be my thinking in this, because you're down and you have to score. It's not going to be a tie game. You have to go for a bucket here early. I'm sure that, they're going to look to penetrate to get the ball to the basket somehow. Just be very, very aggressive. Hopefully get to the free throw line if possible.
That, although, has not been a bright spot for Minnesota this afternoon, because the Golden Gophers are only 9 of 17 from the line. The Jackrabbits don't have too much bragging to do either at 4 of 8.
It'll be interesting to see what South Dakota State does defensively on this. They've pretty much run the same defense all game long, man-to-man defense, switching on all the screens, double-teaming the posts. I'm sure they're going to put a lot of pressure on the freshman McCoy with the ball in her hands.
The pressure comes from Bird again. McCoy with 15 seconds to play. Down by 1. Roislund spins, takes the shot. It's off the rim. And the rebound goes out of bounds, but it is Minnesota's ball.
And Corinne Campbell again making something happen in there. I mean, you want the ball in the hands of Kelly Roislund. She can make things happen. I wouldn't be surprised to see Emmy Fox get it back, Ellis Milan get it in the post, but Roislund's the one.
It goes to the senior, who dumps it off to Ashley Ellis Milan, and she's fouled. It looked like there was a lot of ball on that play, but
there was a lot of ball. Actually, I think that the defensive player went up in order and tried to foul Ellis Milan on that play. Ellis Milan was wide open, almost had a layup to the basket, and the only thing you really could do is jump into her, not let her get the shot off, and make her prove it at the free throw line.
And given the fact that she just missed 2 from the line. Oh yeah, I saw ball from my angle, but there was a lot more body than ball. So no question about it, there was a foul on the play. And that is 5 now on Megan Vogel. So South Dakota State's top scorer has fouled out of the game, although not the top scorer in the game. For the season, Megan Vogel is.
For South Dakota State, 22.
And there she is heading to the bench with 6 points.
And Ellis Milan is a 62% free throw shooter on the game, and Aaron Johnston is not hesitating using some of his 4 timeouts that he had left, or 3, I guess, to put a little bit more pressure on Ellis Milan, make her think about it a little bit more. Brianna Sally's going to sub into the game right now for her length and athleticism defensively.
And as I was going to say there, Andrea, Ashley Ellis Milan is 4 of 10 from the line in this game.
Yeah, she really has struggled. I wouldn't be surprised to see her step up and knock it down. She's a kid that, in high school had such great, she had such a great high school career and had a lot of pressure on her. I wouldn't be surprised that she goes 2 for 2 on these shots. The question is also now, what does South Dakota State do after they get the basketball here? Thankfully,
depend on the position they're in. Will they be up, tied, or behind?
Well, and thankfully, Aaron Johnson has three timeouts to make something happen. So that's a nice luxury. Minnesota with no timeouts.
And Ashley Ellis Milan did not waste any time. She got the ball in her hands, put the free throw up, put it in, and has tied this game with 3.5 seconds left. And now Pam Borton is checking something with the official scores, and Ellis Milan, the freshman from St. Paul Central High School, will have 1 more. And she hit it. Minnesota leads by 1. And South Dakota State will take the timeout down by 1 point.
Well, this might just be the culmination of a great comeback for Ashley Ellis Milan. Remember, she hurt her right knee last year in the first practice of the season, had a really, really slow rehab process. But she has just really stepped up. She's not a freshman anymore. She knows that she has to step up and play. And look at her teammates, so excited for her with those free throws that she made.
Amy Fox hit the game winner on Thursday at Northwestern with time running out in a tie ball game. And now here Ashley Ellis-Milan hits a free throw to put Minnesota ahead. And this is back-to-back games that we have seen Minnesota under pressure and not folding. And this young team, I think, is growing up just immeasurably in games like this.
And just one note, South Dakota State can run the baseline, and Minnesota only has five team fouls. So, wow, that may be a
Inbound
turnover.
pass is too strong.
Actually, that was, you know what, that was exactly probably what Aaron Johnson wanted. It kind of looked like he wanted to throw the ball over here to the sideline, get it further up the court so they could take it out of bounds, use another timeout, take it out of bounds, and just got knocked out of bounds. So.
The strategy from Johnston worked only because Katie Korneman, who went up for the basketball, wasn't the player who knocked it out of bounds. So it might be the strategy. That's an awful risky thing to do, though. Throw the ball half court and hope a Minnesota player tips it out.
Well, you have to think about it. You know, there may be one player out here in Vertigan who can actually get the ball and go the full length of the court and score off of an out-of-bounds play. So it's probably not a big option for them at this time. They wanted to probably take the ball out of bounds, get it closer to the midcourt or past the midcourt so that they could run just a set play on the out-of-bounds, maybe get a shot just from the pass inbounds. You see the timeouts here, 1:32 left for South Dakota State. That will probably be used if they can't get the ball inbounds for some reason. They can use that, set up another play.
And consider that the only senior for SDSU, the leading scorer for SDSU, is fouled out, Megan Vogel. So now the go-to player becomes who?
Well, there's a lot of players. I think Vertigan's proved herself from the perimeter. I think Warkentine has been aggressive. And I think every single player for South Dakota State is a threat right now. Bover, I mean, she has just hit some huge shots this year as well. We saw one earlier in this game. She hit some threes against Davis, against Middle Tennessee State that were at critical times in the game. She's in the game as well. So Warkentine, 44, taking the ball out. Bover, who can shoot. Vertigan, who can shoot.
Warkentine will inbound.
Wow.
She finds Vertigan all alone, drives baseline, gives it up. The shot is in.
And they're going to have to check that. It was
just hit
so
a shot
close.
at the horn, and that will be reviewed. I didn't think there would be time to inbounds, drive baseline, pass it underneath, and still get a shot off. But SDSU moves very quickly.
Well, it was just a great decoy play, I thought. I mean, it looked like it was Bover who came up high, and Minnesota was really keen on her and just double teaming it. For some reason, Vertigan, if you watch the lower left of your corner of your screen right there, Vertigan gets the ball, looked like she was going to go all the way to the basket, recognizes the help defense, and just feeds it out of her hands or not.
That is close.
I would say they're going to have to look at it a few more times.
That is very close.
Here's another look at it. Now look at when the ball leaves the fingertips. Is the light on the backboard or off? The light has not gone off yet. It's going to be no good.
The basket does not count, and Minnesota will hang on to a 1-point lead. You just heard the eruption here at Williams Arena, and that's the final decision. A heartbreaker for South Dakota State, who came in here and fought so hard and just was a fraction of a second away from winning this basketball game.
Well, and again, it's not the time on the clock. They're still reviewing it a little bit. It's when the ball leaves her hands. If the light on the backboard, I mean, that is so close. It is amazing. It looks like it's still on her fingertips right there. The light goes on. There's three things you look at. The clock when the horn goes off, the time, and also the light. And it looked as if the light was on.
That's why they have that instant replay. And that's why they have the light around the backboard. And both teams are still on the court.
Well, and the officials are still reviewing the play over there. I'm sure they're going to look at it again, probably over and over if they have to. It's Bover who takes this shot. Ellis-Milan contesting it. And it's just so difficult to see. From that other angle, it was really tough. From this angle, it's a little easier. It's one of those days you wish she had shorter fingertips.
And it looks like the clock hit 0, before the light comes on the backboard, so you can't go by that as your indicator.
No,
you have to go by the clock.
You go by the clock and the horn and the light. And the light is really kind of the ultimate thing. The clock, when it's at 0, still has under 1 second left. So when the light comes on is when the actual time has expired. And you see Megan Vogel.
So are you saying now you do go by the light?
You go by the light, yes.
You go by the light and not the clock.
Correct. Well, the clock was at 0, but that doesn't mean there is no time left. There can still be 0.3 seconds left on the clock, even though it's at 0.
I don't understand how that.
Oh, there's 0.1 here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when the clock hits 0, it's 0.
Well, I think they go by the light. Yeah, I'm sorry to be confusing, but I'm pretty sure they go by the light.
Well, the ball is definitely in her hand at 0, and it looks like it's still on the fingertips at the light. But again, the officials are still reviewing it.
Well, I'm sure
the South Dakota State team is up here. Minnesota's up here. And when they first made that announcement, I think they might have just said something to Pam Borton, and she celebrated, and the place went nuts. And I don't know if they made it official. And now it's changed the other way. Wow. They're going to count that basket from South Dakota State and from Maria Bover. And did you just see Megan Vogel go through the line there and throw a shoulder at Kelly Roisland?
I think she was just excited. I don't think there was anything malicious about that right there. What a turn of events, though. I mean, I think that the crowd erupted thinking the game was over earlier because Pam Borton saw the replay.
Yeah, she reacted.
They showed it on the board maybe in the arena, and everybody assumed that it was going to be no good. And then it was almost like an apology when the official turned around and said, hey, it's good. And I'm not quite sure. Boy, I wish I had one of the officials over here with us right now, because maybe they didn't see enough evidence to overrule